I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency to order September 9th, 2021 at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Greg Palmer.
Here.
Tom Murphy.
Here.
Edwin Dalton. Joe Paletta. George DuPont. Here. Luigi Cavallo.
Here.
Pierre Moran. Here.
Pierre, could you read the ground rules there, please?
All right, the ground rules for Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency. Number 1, the applicant or his representative will make his formal presentation to the commission stating the proposed regulated activities, the wetland impacts, and the alternatives which were considered by the applicant. 2, all comments, discussion, and observation shall be made through the chairman after proper recognition by the chairman. This is necessary to ensure that only one person at a time speaks on any issue, thus making it easier for everyone to understand and for clearer legal transcription. 3, all persons addressing the commission shall begin first by clearly stating their name and address for the record. If necessary, the person may be asked to spell his name for the record. 4, following the presentation of the application, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency will ask specific questions of the applicant. 5, after the commission has asked these questions of the applicant, I shall then allow any members of the public who wishes to speak either in favor of this application or against it to address the commission. 6, I shall then allow the applicant to respond to the comments of the members of the general public. 7, I shall then allow any members of the general public who wish to present any additional information or clarifying discussion to do so. 8, I shall then provide an opportunity for the applicant to respond to these additional remarks if he or his representative so wishes. 9, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date the public hearing commences to complete the public hearing. The commission may ask the applicant for a 35-day extension of the public hearing period if the commission requires any additional information or wishes to schedule a site walk to observe the situation for themselves. 10, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date when the public hearing is closed to render its decision.
Thank you, Pierre. This is a continuation of the public hearing. From August 12th, 2021 for the application 2021-22 of Cameron Castellone for the construction of a new private road, 9 duplex age-restricted residential homes and associated driveways and parking at 470 Straight Turnpike, Watertown. Rosie, you can just make a note that Secretary arrived. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My name is Seb Bovino, planner with Kratzer Jones and Associates, located in Southington at 1755 Meriden Warbury Turnpike. At the last meeting, the Commission requested that we look at the possibility of moving the road south to provide more buffer to Waddles Brook. We provided the number of maps that we were requested, 4 full-size maps, 4 sets and 12 sets of reduced maps. We also sent presentation plan there. Orientation purpose here, Straight Turnpike. This doesn't work on this screen here. To the right is Straight Turnpike. To the north is Waddles Brook. And to the south we have the property line there, and to the west. We revised the proposed road to address the commission concerns. We moved the road southerly. As you can see, the road doesn't have that curvature anymore. It has a small curve, then a straightaway, and then back into a curve. This allowed us to increase the size of the detention area. It was extended west in back of the units 5 and 6. Originally, the detention area was just in back of unit 1 and 2. Now it's extended westerly back to 5 and 6 for a total length of almost 200 feet. By increasing the basin, we are providing the volume and the water quality requested by the town engineer. In addition, we have reduced the amount of tree clearing on the west side by about 2,000 square feet. On the west side, at the end of the project, there in back of units 17 and 18, the tree clearing used to go straight and then turn 90, come to the cul-de-sac. Now we have reduced the grading there, and we reduced the limit of the tree clearing. Also on the south side, there was a concern on the property line. We have reduced the tree clearing there on the south side along the boundary for about 80 to 90 feet. At this point, if the commission has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
I just had a quick question through Musa. One of the questions the commission had was what was zoning's opinion on the width of the road and number of units on this?
I talked to Mark Massoud and asked him that if the zoning regulations allows 18 buildings on a cul-de-sac, and the answer was yes, they do allow. About this, the width of the road, the Planning and Zoning Commission will decide on that. In case if there is any changes to this plan that requires more regulated activity, then you have to come back to this commission for modification of your permit if the commission decides tonight on this.
Was the road was 16, it's 20 now? Was it 16 originally or no?
The road is 20.
What was it originally?
It was always 20, I believe.
Oh, it's always 20? Okay.
Yeah. I have the old plan here.
It is a private road, it's not going to be a public road. It will be owned privately, and the Planning and Zoning Commission will reduce the width of the roads. It doesn't have to meet the town standard for public roads. But again, it's up to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
If they feel that this is not wide enough, they can decide on it.
And then it'll come back to us?
If it requires additional regulated activities, they have to come back. If not, then they don't have to come back.
It was always 20, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Anybody from the commission have any questions on this to start with?
We had a question for number 2 from Paul's notes. What are you looking for there? The September 1st.
Actually, there is a revised memo from Paul.
Okay.
That those questions are answered now. We just received this yesterday. There's a short memo, Mr. Chairman. Do you want the secretary to read that into the record?
The one from,
The most recent one, it is dated September 9, 2021.
sure.
Then that will answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah, the groundwater recharge volume were provided to the town engineer. And I believe he's satisfied with our calculations. And there is a backup material to it.
A letter from Paul Bonovich to Musa Rafi dated September 9th, 2021 regarding Garden Brook Estates, 470 Straits Turnpike, Watertown. I have received new site plans revised to 9/8/21 in response to my comments of September 7th, 2021 by Kratzert, Jones and Associates Incorporated. For the above reference project, the following comment is submitted for your consideration. 1, the stormwater basin has been modified to incorporate the remainder of the required water quality volume storage in the basin volume below the outlet invert in the controlled release structure. Therefore, all my comments in my previous review letters have been addressed. Please feel free to contact me with any questions regarding this matter.
Thank you. Paul, do you have any questions or concerns here?
Mr. Chairman, my mic's not working.
Okay.
No, that was the main thing. He satisfied all my comments about the water quality and drainage and that, so I'm all set.
And we're good on the Waddles Brook distance and all that for,
It's as much as they can do. I mean,
Okay.
moving the road, as you said, is
right.
improvement.
If you look at the map that I included in your packet, the red lines, the red line shows that how they move the road to the south side of the property. And some of the buildings are also now further away from the wetlands. That should be in your packet.
And we did discuss a fence across the back here, correct, for Waddles Brook?
John?
Yeah, we propose a split rail fence along the entire north property, before the dropping grade
Oh, yeah,
on the north side of the sewer easement.
yeah. Lucy, do you have any questions or concerns here?
Mr. Chairman, they responded to all our concerns and questions. The only recommendation that I make is that the area that is left alone, like the area that is not, you're proposing any activity on both sides of the Wattles Brook, I asked the commission to put a conservation easement over that area, that in future it shouldn't be disturbed for any reason. And it should be marked. We have these placards in the office, I will give it to you to put on these posts to make sure that in future these homeowners, they don't go to that area and disturb it.
And the limit would be the limit of
proposed tree line that you are.
the tree line that I'm showing.
Yeah, it goes at the back and also getting to near the cul-de-sac, it goes.
We have no objection to that. We
Okay.
discussed that at the last meeting too, I
The
believe.
fence and that conservation easement area will be my recommendation. Other than that, I'm satisfied with your responses.
Anybody else from the commission? Anybody from the public wishing to speak on this application? Anybody from the public? Motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
The motion's been made and seconded. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go into the regular meeting at 6:46. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on any matter? Go ahead, Dale.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Sangri, and I represent the Watertown Land Trust. And we are applying to the state for an open space grant for 40 acres of swamp, mostly. It's part of Peck Swamp, which runs between Linkfield Road and Plunges Road. Very large swamp, and it holds a lot of water. There's a lot of vegetation floating on top of water. So I'm here to ask for a letter of support from your commission. I think that our intention in purchasing the rest of this swamp is that it connects several pieces that are already preserved and creates a very large area where migrating birds and animals can go from Franson Road, Plunges Road, over to Linkfield, down to Water Company land, into the state forest. So it's really hundreds of acres that get connected by this one acquisition. And it's probably not a place that terribly many people will want to visit, but when we apply to the DEEP, we have to grant public access. So we are planning to make a little parking area on Linkfield Road, and then with, I hope, disability accessible pathway from that parking lot down to a viewing platform where people can study birds and see what's going on in the swamp. So those are our plans so far. And the deadline for this application is September 30th. So we would appreciate if we could have a letter from your commission supporting this acquisition.
Does anybody have any questions for her? Can somebody make that a motion to support
I'll make a motion, we support the request to submit a letter of support for to the DEP in order to purchase the Peck Swamp by the Land Trust.
Second. Motion made second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
make one comment. I mean, that's a
Yes.
good idea. It's really an excellent idea. But in future, whenever you want to create that parking lot or the
Yes.
pathway, if there is any regulated activities associated with that project, and at that time you need a wetland permit.
Okay.
Yes, this
Yes.
okay tonight, it is just to give you a letter to purchase the land. But for the project, if there is any activity that requires wetland approval, and you should submit an application at that time.
Yes, I'm not sure that it is that close to the wetlands.
If
Yeah,
you are within that regulated area,
Yeah,
if not,
okay.
then you don't need it.
all right. Thank you.
Gail, is that letter made out to the DEP or the Watertown land?
I can't hear you.
Who do you want the letter made out to?
Oh, the name of the woman who's head of the land acquisition program is Allison Clark, and Clark is spelled with an E.
Can you send me an email tomorrow? I will draft that letter for the chairman to sign.
All right,
Just send me a short email with the names and address, whatever,
Okay, that's
wherever
fine.
you want me to send the letter.
actually, I think it's better if that letter goes with our application, rather than if you send it separately.
No, I will send it to you.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
sure.
I will send the letter
Yeah.
to you, and then you can include it with your application.
All right.
But please email me the address of the person that I'm writing the letter to.
I will.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the public wish to speak on any application or comments? Anybody else in the public? Action on minutes. One, regular meeting July 15th, 2021. Two, regular meeting August 12th, 2021. The minutes were in your package. Any questions or corrections on the minutes? Make that motion then.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of the regular meeting on July 15th, 2021, and August 12th, 2021.
Second.
Motion's made in second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any exceptions? Motion carries. Pending applications. One, application 2021-22 of Carmine Castone for the construction of a new private road, 9 duplex age restricted residential homes and associated driveways and parking at 470 Strange Street, Turnpike, Watertown.
Make a motion, we approve application 2021-22 of Carmine Castiglione for construction of a new private road and 9 duplex restricted residential homes.
That should be subject to standard conditions
Standard conditions.
and also.
And the easement.
Creation of a
Easement.
conservation easement on that area that I discussed, and installation of a fence, and also a bond for erosion and sediment control. It's a wetland bond for just erosion and sediment control measures.
The motion is made and seconded. Any questions on it?
I have one that just came up.
Yes,
I
sir.
apologize for not bringing it up earlier. I was reviewing the next application, one of the items we have on the agenda to extend a permit, and there was a new bill that was passed by the House. It's
Yes.
included in our packet, and I don't know how, if this applies, and it's just be interesting to know. It says in the unauthenticated copy of it, it basically goes to say that no person shall conduct any regulated activity within an inland, wetland, or water course which requires zoning or subdivision approval. Does that include upland review area, or is it just strictly wetland?
Yes.
Because then it goes on to say, let's see, let me start again. It says, no person shall conduct any regulated activity within an inland, wetland, or water course which requires zoning or subdivision approval without first having obtained a valid certificate of zoning or subdivision approval, special permit, special exception, or variance, or other documentation establishing that the proposal complies with the zoning and/or subdivision requirements. So can we issue a permit without having a zoning approval?
What happened in the past, we were giving like.
All new.
Yes, this is all new. Now, when I issue a permit after you make a decision, the effective date will be the date that the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the same project.
But, yeah, it just seems like we're doing it backwards, though. It's
But
saying
if
that-
it doesn't require planning and zoning, the date of, the effective date is your permit date,
Okay.
yes.
That's it.
Good time? The motion was made and seconded, I think, right? That's how far we got. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. New applications, application 2021-31 of Sneed Homes LLC for the construction of a new single-family home and installation of an on-site septic system driveway on Lot 10, Windy Ridge subdivision, Windy Ridge Lane, Watertown, Connecticut.
This is a new application, Mr. Chairman. Just for you to accept tonight. And if you want to schedule a site walk to see it, or the applicant is not here. That's Royce didn't call or anything? No.
What does the commission want to do on this one? Or sidewalk or not? When you read the application, it talks about, no inland wetland disturbance,
Pretty little
0.15
upland
acre
review.
disturbance within the 100-foot upland review area.
Where's Windy Ridge?
Off Bunker Hill. Go past Stubman Hills is on the right.
Across from the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the commission want to go see this or just?
This subdivision was approved
Right.
by this commission.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason that he is back here because the setback was changed, and also he is asking a little more regulated activity within the upland review area compared to what you approved on the subdivision map for this lot.
I looked at his proposed layout, and it seemed like he made all considerations to get it as far away from the inland review area as possible. I mean, table it, or if Musa recommends that we could accept it based upon his, many viewpoints he has or anything that Paul has.
This
Well,
table.
you can accept the application tonight, but you
Yeah.
cannot
You can't do anything.
decide on it.
Right.
Yeah, we can't do anything anyway.
You can accept it, and then I told the applicant that the
Right.
commission is not going to make a
No.
decision tonight, that's why he's not here. You can
Okay.
accept it and table it, and then
Right.
next month you can make a
I make a
decision.
motion to accept application 2021-31 of Seed Homes for construction new single-family on Lot 10, Windy Ridge subdivision, Windy Ridge Lane, Watertown, Connecticut,
And table.
and then table it.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Old business, 1, notice of violation issued to the owner of 30 Jericho Road, Watertown. 2, notice of violation issued to the Watertown Fire District concerning regulated activities conducted on district property. Bruce, do you have any update there or no?
There's no update.
3, discussion on the application review process by the agency. Anything that,
We haven't done anything with that yet.
You appointed a subcommittee to review the regulations.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
during that review, if they recommend something for this item, we can discuss it in the future.
right,
For now, we just table it.
for a good time with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Make a motion to table items under old business 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed, any abstention? Motion carries. New business, a request from Joe Massey for the extension of the expiration date on a permit 589 issued for French Hill Estate Residential Subdivision, French Street, Watertown, Connecticut. We'll come through.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I submitted a letter to the commission along with the special act of the legislature that changes the total approval from 14 years to 19 years, effective July 1st of this year. And what I'm trying to do is get a letter to the commission on approval to codify what that legislation says, so that I have a written piece of paper that says it's been approved till the application date, which would be 12/23/29.
Moose, have you had reviewed this new act?
Yes, I did. Mr. Chairman, for you, just make a motion to approve the extension of time for this in accordance with the Public Act number 21-34. And then I will write a letter and send it to Mr. Massey and write that their permit was extended to the deadline to that other date. It will be 12/23/2029.
Any questions from the commission on this?
When in the letter, he says that it was as of right. Do you agree
Yes.
with that?
Once the state changed their statutes and
Yeah.
they allow that to happen, we have to follow that.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Somebody will make that a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the,
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the only thing the reason that Mr. Massey is here, because the statute also says that the applicant cannot get that like automatic. They have to come to the commission and apply for it, and then you make a decision on it. It is like farming operations that is as of right, but they just cannot go and do those works. They have to come to the commission and explain to you that this is something that I'm doing on my farm that is related to farming operation. You just make like a jurisdiction ruling over that, and this is exactly the same. They have the right to get that extension, but they have to come here for your approval to okay it.
That's right, that's correct. I know because I presented the change with my representative to the legislature that approved it, signed off by the House, the Senate, and the governor.
Mr. Massey, can I ask you just a general question?
Sure.
Why has it been so long that you haven't developed the property? You have
Market, basically. We've had a number of developers look at it, and for whatever reason, we just never connected. But I've got a lot invested in that particular site at this point in time, so I need to take advantage, frankly, of the length of time that's offered by the statute.
Thank you.
Is there anything else in that law that, just since you seem to know
Yes,
about
there
it,
is.
what else, if you give a 5 minutes?
Under the law currently, wetlands permits, whenever they're approved, cannot start until the zoning application has been approved, and they must end at the same time. The way it is right now, I'm 3 years behind on my wetlands approval and my zoning approval because I got approved by wetlands, had to go to court and get the decision rendered in my favor. It took 3 years to do that. So I have a wetlands permit that's expiring this year and a zoning permit that's expiring in 2024. So what we did is we said common sense should rule here, and that the both applications should start at the same time and end at the same time. And it was passed.
Yeah, I think one of your rulings was written up here somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You had- Right, somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
As a matter of fact, when I came here for the last extension, I acquainted the Wetlands Commission with the fact that there was a disparity in the start-stop,
Yeah.
and I had suggested that the town go to the statutes, or go make an application themselves to the statutes to get it corrected. But it was never done. So I took the bull by the horns and did it.
Kudos to you. Common
Yeah.
sense doesn't generally rule.
Thank you. We just got to vote on those.
I'm going to make a motion, we approve the extension of the Joseph Massey permit number 589 pursuant to pursuant to Public Act number 21-34, effective July 1st, 2021, with the extension date of 12/23/2029.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much.
Any abstention? Thank you.
And I must remind you, the last time I was here was in 1958 when I graduated.
Really?
It's changed a lot.
Thank God you're still here.
Yes. God bless you. You make a note that, and then communications and bills, none. Reports from officers and committees. Chairman's report. On this new I read through that legislation a little bit. Should we be changing our procedure and have it go through zoning first then?
What I will do is, like, most of your application, they don't go to planning and zoning. The date that you approve, that is the date that the clock starts. But in case if there's like a subdivision or something in
Right.
this project that we approve tonight,
Yeah.
I make sure that, I wait until the planning and zoning commission make a decision, and then I use that date.
Well, why doesn't it go to them first? If we're gonna change the width of the road,
That's a good point, that's a good point.
then why don't we, I don't
I
understand
will
it.
talk to, but the problem is that then there is another statute that says that the planning and zoning commission cannot make a decision on
Until this
something
one
if it's not approved by the wetland.
Right.
Why just, I mean, it's saying if they're gonna add or delete or whatever, then we gotta get it back.
Yeah, that's what you
It
said
seems like
tonight.
it's a waste of time.
The application tonight, you said if P&Z gets it, and there's an
Yeah.
issue that's a change, I gotta come back here and we gotta review it again, so it's like,
But it can be the other way too, that if the planning and zoning commission approves something and then comes to you and then you make changes, then they have to go back to them. It's like-
But how would our changes affect the integrities and planning and zoning, looking at
Yeah, but if that road,
Yeah,
as
but what I'm-
far as I know, that road width's not correct. I don't care if it's private or your house or whatever.
Yeah.
The 20-foot.
what I'm saying is,
emergency vehicle, I'm just saying, so we're gonna change the width, they're gonna do more flow calculations. Just do it once through planning and zoning.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, say we tell them they need to make the retention pond 20% bigger.
Right.
That shouldn't affect planning and zoning's decision. I mean, it would be
Well, it's still
so
gotta come back.
small.
It's still gotta come back.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if it came to them
Right.
first and then to us, and then we had to make a modification about a bigger,
Right.
Yeah, it's just,
retention pond, it's not gonna change planning and
Right.
zoning's
It's
decision.
only if they make a change that impacts more wetlands or regulated area, then they have to come to you.
well,
Some of the changes, they don't have to come.
Craig's point is, if they make the road 4 feet wider, then that increases the drainage
Right.
calculations and the flow to
Yes.
the pond, and it has to be re-reviewed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know
I
that
don't
the
know.
statute says that
Right.
wetlands, planning
Wetlands
can't,
first,
planning
yes,
can't do it
and
until
then
wetlands does,
P&Z
yeah.
second.
So they gotta start on one or the other, so.
And obviously, everybody knows the town had severe flooding. I was just wondering, fall, if, I know we've had some training sessions on legality, if somebody could come in and give us a little training session on retention ponds and how they're figured, because we were up all night, we drove around, and some of them were half full and some were over, and Are they doing it at the top of the hill? Do they do it after it rains? There's something's going wrong here. I lived in town all my life. I don't know the rest of you people. Something is changing. So you can blame it on it's warm and all that, but there's massive issues going on and somebody's got to address it. And I don't understand when I go see a retention pond that's, half the size of this room, and then you see one 12 times the size. Somewhere the calculations are getting mixed up. I don't know if you've been around and looked at what's going on. There's significant damage on a lot of infrastructure, and I think 4 years ago we went to a seminar and they said you should be planning for 150 to 200-year storm. And every time we bring this up, it seems like the Public Works knocks it down to a 50-year storm. What are we doing?
Well, it's still,
Why is that happening?
it's still 100-year, we have to design
No,
ponds
it's
for.
definitely not, but the recommendations of the experts
Yeah.
at that particular conference was $1.50.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there is it is still somewhat of an art form, designing drainage, there's, I would say wiggle room, but there's interpretation of
Right.
everything from impervious area to time of concentration, and what, the impervious area can change if the development changes, for whatever reason. And things that were designed 30 years ago are not designed, we designed today. It's more, I'd say it's stricter guidelines, basic,
You
between
think so?
rational and.
I think it's worse. I think it's the other way, to be honest
Well,
with you.
it can be, I guess, both, I don't know.
Right.
I
And
think the maintenance of the ponds is still a big issue, I've been going around, there's ponds that we've got, 10-inch
Right.
trees growing out of them, that haven't been cleaned in 20 years.
And that land belongs to who?
It's the towns, yeah, it was
The
dedicated,
pond, wherever it
the
is.
dedicated open space or conservation easement, so.
Like this project tonight that we approved, that will be owned privately. That's not going to be given to the town of Watertown, this detention pond. They are responsible for maintenance. But there are some development, especially with subdivisions, that they give it to the town of Watertown, and then the Public Works Department is responsible for maintenance.
And some of these things have never been touched since they've been put in, I'm thinking
So
up on
is
Mount
there
Fair.
a complete inventory of all the ponds and there's?
We have been working on that, and there's some we didn't even know we had, that,
Right.
out in the woods somewhere that no one's almost ever seen for, 20, 30 years, so. Mostly, I'm thinking up on Mount Fair for one thing, Yeah, it is a situation, well, not just maintenance, but like I said, the design, I'd be happy to discuss that with the commission anytime.
Right, because it just seems like, when, I don't know when they come in there changing I don't know if it's, to be honest with you, it's right or wrong. I just know what's going on, it's not right.
No, I understand, yeah, and we've
If
had
you drove
crazy.
around, I don't know where you were that night, but it's a serious issue.
Yeah, well, I was at the meeting, and then I know what happened overnight, because Joe Millette texted me at 12:30 in the morning what's going on at Main Street, last Wednesday, so.
Right.
Or Thursday by then,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I heard from somebody that some towns, because of the effect of the climate change, they're asking for 500-year storm.
I haven't heard that yet,
Okay.
that's a big
That's
step
really,
up.
yeah, that is huge, I mean, that's.
Well, we gotta do something.
Well,
Watertown's not doing anything, so we have to do something.
George just built one. How did yours fare here in this last storm?
It was great. I mean, you can, I don't even think it
Did it
rose.
overflow or anything?
Oh, God, no. No, there's about 8 foot of freeboard there. It
And that
didn't
was
even come up a foot.
What, 100-year or whatever?
I believe it was, Ron Wolf designed it for 100 years.
But the
I mean,
project's not fully developed yet, though, either, so.
So there's still a lot of dirt.
The problem is, it seems like it's
Yeah.
who designs them and who doesn't, because, you look at yours and you look at the one in Echo Lake, it's huge, and you go these other ones, they're quarter the size and there's more development. Something isn't, the ratio is wrong here, and I don't know where, but something's not right.
I don't know, I mean, I've witnessed stuff that's Paul's designed over the years.
Yeah.
And actually, Thursday, I walked through one that Paul designed 15 years ago, and it was functioning perfectly. We had about 6 inches of freeboard
Right.
going over the weir, where the storm surge could bring it up to about 3 feet. And that Thursday morning, we had 6 inches going over, and the
Right.
entire site was perfectly stable. So, I think Paul definitely has a lot of expertise and knowledge in that stuff. So
Right.
if he's reviewing these, I'm very confident that they're
Right.
in compliance with the design flows, Maybe the design flow needs to be changed.
Well, I don't know, like I said, we can come up with some, simple, basic, but I mean, I go by the one on the Hollow Road, it's a pond, it's not supposed to be full of water all the time and have fish in it,
No,
is
they're
it?
not, yeah.
Okay, well,
No,
that one's never worked, on the bottom of Curtis Lane, it's never been right. It's full of water, it's in a person's yard, but,
That could
Nobody
be
seems to-
due to a lot of lack of maintenance, if they get a lot of silt.
no,
in
but that
the
had
bottom.
water in it from day one.
Having water in it is okay, but the water level needs to be at a certain point,
Yeah.
then the outlet structure can't be blocked.
Right.
If the outlet structure's blocked, the whole thing is defeated.
Some of them are designed to be wet bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, the newer ones,
Standing,
the
yeah.
newer ones are
Yeah.
pretty much required to be.
Well, that's a wet bottom, it's got about
Right.
3 feet of water, I don't think that's a
No,
wet bottom.
no. that
But
must
it's
be
never been corrected, and I don't understand, that road is, that project's not finished, call the bond and get it fixed. It's very simple, isn't that why you have a bond?
Curtis Lane.
And nobody does it,
Which
I
one
don't-
is, which one is Curtis
on
Lane?
Hollow Road. It washed out the road, so now they gotta put a, you know, a box culvert in.
I can't picture it, right?
We must have been up there, Paul, no?
If you
No,
do
I haven't
something-
seen that
Oh,
one.
you
I've
see it.
seen, at least not lately.
Oh, okay.
Mount Fair Farm ruined Echo Lake Road. If you go look at Echo Lake Road,
It keeps, yeah,
Mhm.
keeping it underneath.
the pond is half the size.
Could we like come up with the like amount of impervious surface?
Well, I think we're gonna go into,
Like,
we're gonna
but
change
like
the,
has different year calculations, like for something, let's say they're putting in like a huge shopping center, like maybe they need a 150-year storm, like who chooses the storm size? Is it us?
Howard said it. I don't,
you can't get a straight answer on that, because we
Right.
go from 25 to 100.
But what I'm saying
Depends
is,
what day of the week it is.
if we as a commission say like,
Yeah.
I think
we
the
want
regulations
150 years,
establish that.
It's
Well,
in
we're
the
gonna- we're-
subdivision regulations
the
right now.
next-
the-
The next is the report, we're gonna work on changing the regulations. So if we gotta put a 500-year storm or a 5,000-year storm, that's what we're gonna do. Because something has to change.
Can we do that? Where's our 100-year storm requirement drawn from?
The subdivision regulations.
But I mean,
yeah.
that's a complete town decision?
I'm sorry, George?
That's a decision from the town?
For state statute.
Like,
Um,
our
No, it's
change, or does
probably
that come
from,
the state?
probably from Public Works Engineering
Right,
at
it's not
some
a state
point, yeah.
thing.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm asking.
So you can make whatever regulation you want.
Oh, okay.
It's been, 2 through 100 year, with the spillway to handle the 100-year,
Right.
for like 30, I don't know, at least not as long as
But our
I've been.
subdivision regulations are like 50 years old. No?
Right.
If it was
Right.
designed.
But they've been
Now
updated.
it is changing, we have more storms and more rainfalls.
Yeah, the other thing, the rainfall, the actual 100-year, 24-hour rainfall is subject to change too, depending on all these storms we've had, so that could go up too. That might be a de facto change from 100 to 200-300-year storm, just right there, so. I don't know if the state's DEEP's gonna issue anything like that. I can find out what the feeling is, but especially this summer's been totally, the last 2 months have been ridiculous, from that
Right.
July storm with, 5 inches of rain in an hour and a half or whatever we got, at
Right.
least, to,
What made it
Henri
worse?
and Ida, so luckily Henri didn't turn out as bad as it was supposed to be,
But
the
it made it
wind-
worse because the ground was already saturated.
Well, that's the other thing, yeah, that's what happened in 55 flood. We got 2 back-to-back hurricanes, and ground was saturated, nowhere to go, so that's a different,
All right, so you're gonna try to work on some simple, and
Yes.
maybe you could get some pictures of good examples and bad examples.
yeah. No, I can certainly do that, yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Mr. Chairman. Will
Thank
do.
you.
Yep.
And the second was report from Wetland Regulations Review Subcommittee, which is Mr. Tom
I
Murphy.
received the packet beginning, like, first day of September. I haven't had a chance to look at it. We'll have a report, preliminary report for next meeting for sure.
And that's where some of this can be done, correct?
Yes. I believe it can, so we're gonna go through and just make our recommendations and see where
Yeah,
it
and
has
that's
to go
where
from
the
there.
lot size and all that's in there, or no?
I'd be quite honest with you, I haven't gone through the details of it to comment on it.
Yeah. I don't, we just need a motion to file.
Make a motion to file items 1 and 2.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. Reports from staff. Application 2129 of Town of Watertown Public Works Emergency Maintenance on 237 Ball Farm Road. And B, 2021-30 of Town of Watertown Public Works Emergency Cleaning of Brush and Debris, Turkey Brook, 15 McLennan Drive.
Do you want to briefly explain?
Yeah,
again
sure,
what the situation was? and
Well,
why it
number,
happened?
yeah, I'm sorry, excuse me. Mr. Chairman, the first one on Ball Farm Road is that drain, that private drain that goes under Ordinary Joe's that we've had issues with. It's been filling up over time, and, you know, the town doesn't have any easement or rights to maintain that. And we were just, you know, we found out that they did a TV of that line, and there was a block under, not under Ordinary Joe's, just beyond it, and we were going to go in and at least take that out as a matter, you know, just try to help the situation. Our town attorney ruled that no, we're not to even touch the property because it opens up a whole can of worms with liability and that. So our 1A is kind of a moot point right now. And also, the fact that the last two storms, they've been declared, Connecticut's been declared a disaster area, and we're trying to get funds, of which I've just submitted and started the application today for this area to try to get funds to repair, you know, or redesign this whole sewer so it doesn't go under Ordinary Joe's, it bypasses and goes down Ball Farm into Buckingham directly. So that's underway. The second one is we do have the rights from Sunnyside Bridge all the way up, you know, across the first crossing of Falls by the Senior Center up through Sunny Lane and McClellan. We have easements when that channel and the bridges were revised to maintain and to clean, you know, which we've been doing. We had some trees come down. We already took those out as an emergency measure for flow in the water course. But this is just routine cleaning in the last 10 or 12 years since that channel and those bridges were updated. It's just been, you know, like there are things growing in there that just totally impeding the flow, and we want to get in there and cut the brush down and even dig out some of the siltation and debris that's accumulated, sand and the like in the channel since all that work was done in the early 2000s, around 2010, I guess, the last time. So that's what we're, you know, it was once an emergency situation. It was also a long-term maintenance situation for the channel lip and,
Right,
you know,
but
Upper Turkey.
if I remember correctly, that was supposed to be being done, no?
Was supposed to be being done?
Well, when they did the Turkey Brook project, it was,
Well, it was done, but I mean, it's,
no,
you know,
but there was supposed
I
to
mean,
be.
you can see like this year, like I can't even see some of the things because of all the growth. It's been a crazy year, not just
Right.
for storms, but for everything's, you know, just overgrown with not just a Japanese knotweed, which is a whole other story. You know.
By a side note, did you go down and look at the Filton Dam or no?
I saw Lisa Carew send a bunch of pictures out this afternoon, how that thing just got wiped out. It's amazing, you know, that was.
You should take a ride down and look at the two pipes that go to Seymour Smith. Do you see that? The wooden
No, I didn't
structure?
see that. They said
Yeah,
there's a wooden
it's kinda
pipe out
neat.
there.
They
Yeah.
must have cooled, they must use it for cooling in Seymour Smith?
Right,
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah, Deep wanted a report on that, you know, the fact that the dam's not, I didn't even know that, they call it the Bedrock Cascade Dam. I had no
Yeah.
idea it had a name or.
Well,
has a
nobody took ownership of it, correct?
Right, no,
Right, that's what I
no.
thought.
It was kind of like, yeah.
Well, the bedrocks, they're down in, I think in the cleaners building, but.
Right, beyond there, yeah.
Hey, Paul, I have a question. You know, that drain under Ordinary Joe's, who owns it?
It's private. It's owned by, you know, from, there's like 4 property owners there. I forgot.
Yeah, we all
the-
went down there
there's-
once and looked at it, but,
Yeah.
so it's owned by each individual property?
Right, yeah.
Each section is on somebody else's property.
all right.
Yeah, it's a real, yeah.
Okay.
There was, yeah, it was never deeded, or no rights, the town has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Well, what about under the road? Under
Well, that's
Buckingham where
that's the
clog
state,
is?
Buckingham's a state highway. There's an actual, it's Route 855, no one knows it, but that's a
So
state
that's how
highway.
you're gonna get the money?
No, this is
No,
from
from the-
FEMA, from disaster
Oh, FEMA.
relief funds, yeah, yeah. From both Henri and Ida have been declared, you know, state's been declared disaster areas because of those 2 storms we just got in the last
Yeah.
2 weeks, so, you know. Never mind the one in July, which, you know, is just like three's a third time's the charm, boy. So, I guess Musa was just making an agent determination at this point.
Yeah, on these two, I already issued the permit, but they had to fix it.
But the first one is moot
the town,
because we're, yeah.
Attorney said it's private own.
And now we're going, trying to get the funds to redo the whole
Responsibility.
situation out there, so.
We didn't do it. Because once you do for one property owner, then how you can stop other people to come to you that say, I have a problem with my drainage pipe.
And just for example, going back, to if you remember the Sunset Avenue project in Watertown, that we, you know, the drain that comes down from
Yeah.
Taft Pond and those 6 property, that still is in
I
limbo because you can't get everyone to agree on
No.
their portion of the cost for that,
We
so.
went there about 2:30 in the morning, tried, you know, it was Jeff Porter, remember?
Yeah, right,
It was about, I don't know, 5 feet of water in his basement. The water was coming down Sunset too.
Yeah.
So it was on Sunset, plus it was going through the back, you want to see it, his whole, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
right,
I
that
said,
thing,
never do that project? He said, no, nobody can agree, and that was the end of it.
that's, I know, it's tough enough getting 2 people.
But I don't know if the amount of water was coming down, we didn't, behind the house, there was nothing left of whatever he had, his shed or something.
What about the water course that runs by Mr. Porter's, was that?
It was splitting around his house, so it was
No,
running
it
in the
was-
front. We couldn't get in the front, you couldn't get in the back.
Right.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah,
Public participation, anybody from the public?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion made in second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, any abstentions?